The deep red Tennessee 7th Congressional District may have some hints of purple, judging by the tight race during Tuesday's election. Republican military veteran Matt Van Epps narrowly came out on top in the special election for Tennessee's 7th District in the U.S. House of Representatives. Now, he defeated Democratic State Rep Afton Bain by 9 percentage points for the seat, which was vacated by Republican Representative Mark Green, who retired over the summer. It is important to note Green had quite a hold on this seat when he won re-election in 2024 by 21 percentage points. Democrats hoped Bain's message about affordability and cost of living issues would win over the deep red district, but of course the outcome went Van Epps' way. So let's open it up to Scott. What does this outcome mean for Republicans and Democrats?
Well, I think the outcome is the best thing that could have happened to the Republicans. One, a win is a win. I will take a 9-point win anytime I can get it. So a win's a win. But if Van Epps had won by the 21, 22 points, I think the Republicans would be sitting back thinking, we got this in the bag for the midterms. But I think this was a wake-up call for them that maybe they need to look at their message a little bit. Maybe they need to address some other issues. But at the end of the day, Van Epps is the representative. He won by 9 points.
Okay.
And they didn't win over. I think she made...
Afton Bain.
Yeah, she made kind of a critical error, in my judgment, at the end of her campaign of who she brought in to rally the troops. And I think that what really happened was she brought in who she brought in. AOC was one, Kamala Harris was another. She brought them in, and what I think that did was ignite the Republicans who were kind of, oh, this is a special election, I'm not going to take the time to vote, because the voter turnout, where most special elections, they always say, oh, voter turnout was low and that gives the underdog an advantage. The voter turnout was very good for this election. And I heard several news sources equate it to what would be a midterm election.
Right.
So the voter turnout was strong and the Republicans came out, which they might not have come out but for her campaign at the end.
Okay, so a little more on the Democrat side, though. What do you think this means for them as far as the outcome? By 9 points.
I think the Democrats are gaining some traction. They have a message, but I don't think the message needs to be delivered by a perceived leftist. I mean, rightists. No, leftist. I'm sorry. I get my left and right. I'm dyslexic. But you know what I mean? I mean, I think I've heard several national pundits said had the Democrat been a more moderate Democrat, could have had a much better outcome.
Okay, very, very interesting note there. So, Otis, midterms, let's talk midterms.
Yeah.
Could this race be a hint of what's to come next year?
I think so. I don't know if it's going to be in Tennessee, unless, let's take David Kustoff, for example. He's in a ruby red district as well that touches closer to Shelby County. Matter of fact, part of it is in Shelby County. He may not be able to, he may not have any trouble with a Democrat, no matter who it is, unless they put a lot of money in it. But he may have trouble with a more moderate Republican. If there's somebody out there who is tired of Trump, and of course Kustoff is all in for Trump, and Trump is so unpopular that he could be primaried by a more moderate person in the Republican Party, and then he would be in trouble. Scott made a great analysis here about what happened last week. That district was gerrymandered in 2020 to get it as far away from Memphis as possible. It used to be right on the edge of Shelby County when Marsha Blackburn was the Congresswoman there. They moved it to the center of the state all the way across to make sure that it stayed in solid Republican hands. They carved up Nashville and made that into 3 districts so that the Republicans could have all 3.
And Jim Cooper suffered from it.
And Jim Cooper lost his seat, a Democrat, and they still only won by 9 points, to your point, Scott. If the turnout was high because they saw AOC and Kamala Harris coming in, and you still only won by 9, that ought to be the bigger wake-up call for them in the primaries. I think the primaries, may not in Tennessee, but in other states, Republicans are in trouble.
Well, I have heard from the national level all the way down to local news that Republicans have had quite a hold on their narrative even since the presidential election between Harris and Trump. So my question for you, Pastor Norman, Democrats see the way that they were able to support Afton Bain as a success. So what did help their message, or how are Democrats succeeding in that message as it pertains to Afton Bain?
We got away from some of the extreme topics and brought it right down to where people live, affordability.
Right.
And then we began to touch on subjects that touch people's everyday lives. I mean, when you start talking about affordability, I know what that looks like when I go to the grocery store. I know what that looks like when I go to the gas station. I know what that looks like when it comes to my health insurance doubling or possibly tripling within the next 30 days if we lose subsidy. So affordability, affordability, affordability. To know that that message worked, the next day after the election, the person that you heard repeat affordability the most was President Trump. So what he was doing was saying Democrats didn't come up with that message. That's our platform. They were trying to co-opt that very thing. You can go back and look at it. He was doing just that one thing. And so I think what Democrats have done right now is that we've gotten our voice back and we're finding that message. I will agree with you on a couple of things. There is a new wave of Democrats that we need to send out into the field. I think sometimes when you send some of the old messengers, you probably get people rallied on the other side. And the Democrats of right now are saying, we want to hear the new messengers. And they are asking those new messengers to step up. I don't think this is the last we've seen of the Democratic candidate here in the city, or here in that particular district. And I have a prediction. I've been singing the song. I want to sing one more verse. Purple rain, purple rain. It's coming, baby. Purple rain, all right?
I think the big thing for the Democrats is who their candidates are. And if they have a candidate that's moderate, they're going to win over some votes because of the affordability. I forget, was it Bush or the first Bush? You know, it's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
Well, that was Clinton. Clinton and Carville. Carville said.
It's the economy.
Yeah.
And that's people vote with their pocketbook. And if things don't turn around, you know, the midterm is coming up on us, but if things continue the way they're going, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to really think hard about who they vote for.
Okay, well, that's a good one to end on. Otis, really quick.
Very briefly, Donald Trump used affordability, but he said it was a hoax.
Yeah.
The second
He
point
did.
is
Right.
in Mississippi, Cindy Hyde-Smith could be vulnerable here because she's a terrible senator. She hadn't done anything, and a strong Democratic, well-financed Democrat down in Mississippi could really give her a run for the money.
Okay, well, I think you wore a purple tie on purpose today. All right, well, thank you, gentlemen, for being here, and thank you for watching. We hope you'll join us next week for ABC24 This Week.